Today we're going to show you how to change the ice door kit on your refrigerator. That's a really easy job. All you're going to need is a putty knife, a pair of needle nose pliers, and a 1/4 inch snuff driver. Let me show you how we do it. Now, because we'll be working near some electrical circuits, before we begin the repair, the first thing we'll need to do is to disconnect the power to the refrigerator. So simply pull it forward enough that you can disconnect the cord. Our first step will be to remove the drip tray from the bottom. Just pull it out, set that aside. Next, we're going to remove the escutcheon cover of the dispenser. Now, it's hooked on the bottom and the top with some tabs. And the way to remove it is to disconnect the bottom portion of it first. So with a putty knife, you can get in underneath the edge and put a little bit of masking tape or duct tape over your putty knife so that you don't mark the finish. And just get that in underneath there enough that you can twist down and out on the bottom of that cover, enough to disengage the tabs. Once you've disengaged the bottom, just lift up on it, unhook the top, pull it to the side, and we can disconnect the electrical connection there. Just release the locking tab and then set that aside. Now, with the escutcheon removed, our next step will be to disconnect this ribbon connector. Pull that out of the harness. And there's a 2-wire connector, a white and a blue wire. Just depress the locking tab, pull that one apart. That should allow us enough room to pull that assembly out of the way. And we just kind of hold it up to the side. And that gives us access to the ice flapper door and the support, as well as the spring closer. We can slide that off first, pull it off, and then discard that. Lift the plunger out of the end of the support and discard that. Now, next, we're going to remove that flapper door with the support and the spring and the pin and that ribbon connector. That goes to a heater that's sandwiched in the ice flapper door. Now, that pin that goes through the spring needs to be pulled to the left, as it engages a couple of hooked tabs that are mounted actually to the back wall of that dispenser assembly. So with a pair of needle nose pliers, we'll just push that pin as far back as you can get it through the hole. And then we'll take the whole assembly and pull it out of the bracket. Now we can lift that flapper and support with the ribbon connector. We'll set that on a suitable work surface because we will be reusing that heater assembly. And you can also take the actuator portion off. Just lift it out of the center pivot, pull it to the right, and you can remove that once we get that cleaned up while we have it apart. Inspect the gasket around the opening, make sure everything is intact there. And now we'll replace the heater and flapper door assembly. Now, with the ice door on a suitable work surface, we're going to separate it from the support mechanism. There's a couple of plastic tabs that hold that flapper door to the support. So simply spread one of those tabs outwards, lift up on the support, disengage it. Once we've separated that, we'll need to peel the foam pad off of the door to remove the heater. Now, very carefully with a putty knife, go in under the edge of that foam, peel that away. Taking care not to damage that heater. The back side of that foam has an adhesive on it that is probably stuck to that ribbon connector, so very carefully peel that away. And then we can remove that heater from the ice flapper door and discard the old door. Peel any remaining adhesive from that. Now, we will need to reuse the pin from the old support. So with our needle nose pliers, we're going to actually push that off to the right when we took it off, we pushed it over to our left, but there's a serrated edge on it that won't allow it to go all the way through that support. Just keep the tension off that spring. Take note of the orientation of that spring. So when we install a new one, we'll do the same thing. We'll lay it down into position, slide the pin from right to left through the two coils on the spring, and just press it so that it's flush with the end of that bracket. And next we're going to peel back the foam on the new door and slide that heater into place. So very carefully with your putty knife, and just get in behind that adhesive enough that we can peel it away just enough and we don't damage it. And once we've peeled that back far enough, we'll take the heater, slide it carefully into position, make sure it bottoms out and sits flush inside that cavity. And carefully press that foam and adhesive back into position. And we're ready to install it onto the new support. We can now snap that onto the new ice flapper door. We're also going to replace the damper assembly with the new one that comes with the kit. It has a plunger with a circular opening in it that will hook onto the end of the support bracket. Once we've mounted that on the refrigerator, we can connect that on. So now we're ready to reinstall the support and the flapper door into the dispenser opening. Now we'll engage the pivot pin on that actuator arm, set the other one in its notch, reinstall the 1/4 inch hex head screw, try to center the two leaves of that spring, one over each of the pivot points for both the ice flapper actuator and the water dispenser actuator. Now we can reinstall the ice flapper door. We'll need to route that ribbon cable up in behind that cross piece, over the top of that. Keeping it flat. Push it up far enough that we can get that door down inside the chute. Now, we're next going to insert the pin with the opening on the left first. Push the door over far enough that it sits inside. And then we're going to push that pin over to the right. Engage that other hole. And push it through so there's about 1/8 of an inch of that pin showing through on the right hand side as well. Check the operation. And next we'll install the damper. Just hook that over the end of the support. Slide the barrel over that plunger and engage it in the bracket at the top. Route that white and blue wire harness in behind that. A ribbon cable over the top of it. And now we're ready to pull the assembly down in place. Tuck that up underneath. And we'll make sure the top edge of this plastic bracket fits into the 2 slots coming down from the ceiling. Make
sure we don't pinch that ribbon cable. Line that cover plate up, install the 2/4 inch screws. Reconnect the ribbon connector to the heater. And that 2-wire harness. Make sure the locking tab engages. Now we're ready to put the escutcheon in place. Start by connecting that 4-wire harness. And we'll make sure that the locking tab engages on that one. Then we'll engage the 3 little hooks on the top that sit into those 3 slots. Make sure it pulls firmly down into place. And then just pull down on the bottom enough to engage the bottom in place. Slide our drip tray back into position. We can reconnect the power, and our repair is complete.